Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Vintage Story, Unearthed for 120. So, I've been busy. As you can see, I've done a little bit of redecorating, where I made 2 more clay ovens. I've made another rack up above here so that I can have more things stored. I even have my pretty medium crystallized chunk of hematite on display, and you can see it's rather shiny as I approach and back off with my light. Pretty happy about that. That's kind of nice. I moved this back over here for now because I don't have a better place for it at the moment. And I still plan on building a fireplace here in the wall, but for the moment that's kind of where it's going to be, like this, until I get around to it. Now, other than that, I have done a few other things. I redid the basement, so it is much brighter. By using the rammed earth variants, it made it much lighter to see things, especially since I've got dim lighting down here with all these oil lamps that I've made as well. And things are still, you know, going on down here. I've kind of got like this brewery section over here with the fruit press and some tables. Then I've got my main food storage over on the side with the crocks and the different food containers. Going upstairs, I did a little redecorating up here as well. I didn't really want to do a big like montage or something of all this stuff because it took me a while. But I've got planned spaces for windows, but until I have the windows themselves, I am not going to pop these out. I've just got planned spaces for them. They'll be mirrored down below on the ground floor as well. And then I've just got regular storage, my bed. In the meantime, I'm just using a hay bed because I could make a regular bed and sleep a bit longer. If you look up bed, you can see that there's a wooden bed and it requires some kind of linen. It doesn't have to be one with diamond stitches or something like that. But you can get some kind of linen with basically hay grass and some boards, and you can make that. But I've been kind of scrimping and saving what I have, which isn't very much. Anyway, I also have other things going on. My leather is partly done. I have a whole bunch of it. I started scraping some of the hides. Let's close. Actually, I'll leave that one open. I did scrape some of the hides, like this here and this here. I scraped those, just kind of put them back in. I collected some of the stuff from this side that was ready. But I basically have a lot of kind of maintenance-y stuff to do here. So I've got weak tannin, and that's going to need a lot of this. As before, this is nothing really spectacular with this one. I'm just going to continue adding things until it tells me that I have exactly the right amount. And then I seal it, and that's pretty much it. And then if it's not taking weak tannin, it'll probably be taking the strong tannin, which I've got a whole bunch of over here. And then I can start using some of this leather that I have over here. If you notice, I have a whole bunch of leather in these 2 containers. I've got 25 and 5, which is just enough, I think, for me to make a leather jerkin and upgrade 1 more of my bags. Let's see, I think it's 2 of those, like that, and then that leaves me with 22. So, if I'm not mistaken, let's take these off to the side, and I can make... Is it like this? Yeah, leather jerkin. And then I can't remember what it is for the other one. I think it's just like this. Yeah, there we go. Leather jerkin. So this is advantageous and has drawbacks. A lot of armor is kind of that way. So if I bring up... Actually, let me close all this stuff. This is a lot on the screen at once. If I bring this up, you can see that I currently have my armor so much. And you can see all the different changes that it makes to my stats. Well, in this case, these don't have any drawbacks. There's no like hunger increase, ranged accuracy decrease, charge speed decrease, none of that stuff. But it doesn't do quite as much damage reduction, and it doesn't do quite as much percent protection as this stuff does. This stuff is all 65% protection and 0.5 damage reduction per piece worn. This is 0.25 per piece worn and 40%. So it's kind of nice to have around your house. If you just want to be able to have more mobility, you don't want to have any hunger rates going on, you can put that on. But then also any armor you put on there, because this is actually like a precursor to other armor. So if I bring up a leather jerkin, it's not quite as good as leather armor, which you can make that, by the way, but leather jerkins are upgradable. And that means like the chest and the legs, but there isn't anything for the head, so you can go straight up to the next step for head armor. But this is a requirement for better armors later on. For example, we've got like brigandine, we've got chain, and you've got your standard ones. And brigandine is an armor by itself. It is not upgradable beyond that. But the chain armor, if I were to go into that, depending upon you can use different metal types for any of the different metal armors, just so that you know. This is just an example with bismuth bronze. But it can then be used to make plate armor or scale, or you can just wear it as chain armor. And if you're a ranged type fighter, chain armor is really good. It's probably got the least amount of drawbacks with the most amount of protection you could get. And scale armor, you might as well just go for plate, but if you want to be able to, is it heal at all? I can't remember. Healing effectiveness minus 17%. Yeah, with scale armor on, you can actually still heal yourself while wearing armor, though at a drastic reduction. With full plate armor, you can't heal yourself at all. You have to remove the armor in order to do so. So having a second set of armor to switch out quickly so you can heal and then switch back is kind of key for that kind of situation. But anyway, I haven't quite decided on what armor it is I'm going to go for. I mean, maybe I'll go with like a brigandine. They're really pretty. I like the brigandine armor just because it looks really pretty, and all you do is just put a bunch of iron plates on it, and it gives you some protection, like protection tier 3. I'm not sure that it's going to be the one for me. I have yet to decide on that one, and we've got plenty of iron that I can work with. Still, the leather jerkin is step 1 of that. I was about to go inside, but I need to finish up my leather. Let me start getting all these things sealed and cleaned up and stuff, and then I can make that stuff. In fact, I'm going to make myself that extra bit of a bag as well. There we go. I now have one more inventory slot. I've got this old linen sack that I think... Can I just cut that up? No, I don't think that I can. Nope, sadly I can't cut it up for scrap or anything, but at least it was useful while I had it. It's possible you might find a trader that is going to want a linen sack for trade, and in that case it could be worth some gears. So actually I'm going to take this out and put this in my what's it area for potential trading. Now that it's daytime, you can see my finished little kind of bloomery area. I plan on having it so you can have it on both sides, but I don't really have a need for that many blooms to be made just yet. But I just kind of chiseled up some of the oak logs and a little bit of the chalk cobblestone, which is just a bunch of stones surrounded by some clay, and that was pretty much it. And I now have iron blooms in each one. I have 18 iron blooms, and each one of those should give me at least 1 iron ingot, which means if I need to make like plates, like iron plates for armor or something, that's 2 iron ingots per plate, which that means that I'd only be able to make 9 plates. Either way, I'm only looking to make maybe 1, because I think I'm going to try and aim for a lantern at some point. The rest of them are going to be like some tools and some basic starting gear. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll make some chains for the chain armor or something. There we go. Just so that you know, though, I usually end up just breaking the bottom. There are 2 pieces to a bloomery. You can break the top and then the bottom, but then you're using 2 durability off of your pickaxe or whatever it is you're breaking it with. Instead, I'm just going to break the bottom, and it falls apart. And you get some of the bricks back. There we go. And then you see I've got 8. So if I were to use this, I could make the bottom, but I'm missing the top. And it's not always the same amount that I get back. It kind of varies a little bit. So let's break both of these sets, and if that was the case, I would get 24 total. Instead, I've got 27. So I got a little bit more than I did with the original one off of those other 2. But I now have 18 iron blooms, which there's multiple steps to the processing iron blooms. And for now, I think what I'm going to do is leave these bricks here so that future me can use them. And I didn't want to break the ground underneath because I couldn't remember if these would fall, if they had gravity or not on them. But I can at least put these here to convert them into bloomeries when I am ready. Oh yeah, I also took some beams and just kind of put them around the door for now. I intend on having, I don't know, something a little bit nicer on the front of the house. It just kind of looks a bit bland at the moment. But for now, that'll have to do. Little bits at a time will make me happy and not spend too much time building on the entirety of the house. Alright, so for now I've put the blooms up on these shelves just so that I can display them. I have an easy way of telling how many I have, basically double the amount that's showing, which is 12. Plus I've got 6 more down here. Yes, they're all ground storable as well. You can just stack them in a chest if you really want to, but I kind of figured this might be a little bit easier for me to access since I'm going to be working on here and on here. Now, you can try making the next level of anvil if you want straight away, but I find that a little bit, I don't know, time consuming because getting into steel is a much longer process. Like as you progress, things are going to be taking longer and longer to get to different things, though you'll have much easier access to the earlier level stuff. So I usually find iron to be a pretty good level to, I don't know, kind of level out a little bit and then kind of sprawl and find your feet with some decent armor, weapons, tools, things like that. And it allows you access to most things in the game so that you can go exploring if you want to a little bit safer once you've got that all set up. But for now, I think I'm going to start making some stuff. So I'm going to put these blooms on the forge and light them up just so that I can break the slag off of them. Not going to need anything fancy to start with. I'm just going to use a little bit of brown coal, I think. And while I do have a bit of a hammer here, which I'm going to use until it's dead, I think what I'm going to do is probably make an iron hammer, because a hammer, it's just so, it's used so often. And I did make a tin bronze one over here already, but I kind of would like to just have the extra durability on a hammer. So I think that's actually going to be my first thing. Then I'll start upgrading my fox blade and my pick. I might even make an axe and a shovel as well. It'd be nice to have just all iron tools so that I don't need to worry about carrying flint and sticks with me all the time. Sure, they'll take up the same space, but I mean, I can find flint and sticks nearly anywhere. So if you remember, I've got a bunch of bees outside. I figure I might as well do this while I'm waiting for some of this stuff to basically do its thing. And I've just taken an entire stack and made 4 empty skeps from some of the clay that I have. That's so that I can replace those things once I get out there, because I believe, yeah, I can see we've got honey ready for harvest. But I am going to smelt this up, and then I'm going to go harvest a bunch of bees, because I don't want those to go too long. I might still be able to get some more before winter completely sets in, though it is September. I guess we'll find out. So watching the temperature on this, once it gets up to, what is it, like 900 degrees, I think it usually burns out with brown coal. And there it goes. Yep, it did. And then I pick this up, put it down on the anvil, and I just smash away the things that I need. I keep hitting the wrong button. Here we go, split. So you smash away stuff and you'll break like a 3x3 grid of any kind of black stuff that you hit. So you want to get all this black stuff off of the ingot, and then you'll want to reform it into an ingot as well. Now if you have a helve hammer, you can do this automatically, but you'd also have to have a windmill, and that requires a lot of flax. And once again, I think I've said this a few times already, but I'm going to say it again. This is the first playthrough I've had where I've had a drastically terrible amount of flax found by my character. So we'll see how that goes. So right now all I'm doing is making an anvil, or an ingot rather, not an anvil. And that's pretty much it. You can then reform it into something else, but you first have to form it into an ingot. This is just you telling the game that you're able to actually get all the slag and stuff off of there. There we go. And you have 1 ingot's worth of material. So if you end up doing this and you don't have enough material on there to make a complete ingot, it's a possibility. You might not have enough pixels to make a full ingot. You can then save that for when you have a helve hammer, and then you can put it on there, and the helve hammer will actually heal the missing pixels to make a complete ingot. So those are not completely lost. You don't need to slap down a second one or anything like that. Just save them for when you do have the health hammer. It's just a bit frustrating at times, but that's a possibility. So if I sneak right click, put it back on here, I can then immediately make something else. And in this case, I want to make that iron hammer, which is pretty darn easy to make. It's one of the simplest things you can make on here. There we go. My first iron item is now a hammer, which I'm just going to put on the wall. I did have to use my second tin bronze hammer, which I'm probably going to continue using that until it's gone, but it's only got a durability of what, 750? This one has durability of 1800. That's a lot better. Less broken tools to worry about. Alright, so now off to the bees, since I've got all these skeps to deal with. And speaking of being a dummy, it's not a bad idea to also get yourself a straw dummy. Now, I am not really bothered by having a dummy, but I will do this for demonstration purposes, because bees, they only do 1 point of, like, it's really weak damage, so it's nothing really to worry too much about. Let's grab these, and I think it's just this. There we go. And you've got a straw dummy, which you can just set down by sneak right clicking. Then you can punch it as you want to, and it'll do some damage. I forgot that I'm still carrying the tongs there. Now the thing is, if you have this near any of the bees when you harvest them, just by sneak right clicking you can pick up that dummy again. If you have it near the bees when you break a beehive and they start like attacking, which is a possibility, then you can actually try and get them to aggro onto the dummy instead. So I don't know that I can put it down here, because there's... Oh no, I do have something I can put that there. There we go. So let's have it facing properly. There. And now I can start taking some of these. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this one, because it's... I need a hive to spread to other hives, but I am going to break the others and start putting down some replacement skeps as well. So the first one, I'm just kind of smashing it, and I got a bunch of cattails and 2 honeycomb, which is great. And you can see that the population size is large, nearby flowers 130, it's all fantastic. And I still plan on adding more flowers in time as well. There we go, we got some bees. So if I stay nearby, I will start getting stung. My armor will take damage as well, so you just want to get them to attack the dummy instead. There we go. And then you can go about your business with kind of messing around with more beehives. It's not always going to happen where you spawn bees when you break one of these, but in the case that you do, it's just kind of more convenient to get them to attack the dummy instead. Also, if you don't want to bother taking your armor off so that it doesn't take damage or anything. There we go. And with all those done, this... Oh, the bees have just come off of the dummy. Leave me alone. Go after the dummy instead of me. I'm not the dummy. Go. They really like me today. Okay, maybe I am the dummy. But the with all these in place, I still have the one main hive that can then still populate the others, assuming that it's not too cold. If it starts getting to be too wintry, then they probably aren't going to really spawn anymore until it becomes warm again in the springtime. So just be aware that wintertime they will be kind of docile and not very active. You won't get much out of it. But for now, I did get some. I've got, what is it, 8 of the honeycomb here and 1 there. They only stack in groups of 8. And you will need a bucket for this, which is kind of sad because I don't know why I can't just do this over a barrel. But there's probably mods that would allow you to do that. I'm sure there is, in fact. I'm just going to use my fruit bucket because why not? In real life, we actually use a fruit press to squeeze our heather honeycombs, so I don't see why using that same bucket wouldn't be a problem here. And I've got 1 empty barrel that I can put my honey in. So let's see, if I sneak, and I don't think it says anything, transfer liquid to from container. I'm going to try right click. And if you sneak right click, there we go. You'll start squeezing the honey into the bucket. Now, if you press the wrong button, you're going to end up eating the honey, and you will have nothing left. You will eat the honeycomb. So just be aware that that's a possibility. It's kind of frustrating when you have an exact amount that you need, but yeah. Also, you could keep that comb forever. You could trade it. You can. It'll store forever. So it's a forever food. So bees are fantastic, especially if you get a whole lot of them. I'm hoping to expand the amount that I have there. And then you can just right-click this, and I now have 1.8 liters of honey in here that feasibly I could turn into mead if I seal this. After a couple or after a fortnight, it would turn into mead, which then you'd get a little bit of fruit and, of course, a lot of screen swaying. But beeswax can be useful for things like sealing crocks. You don't have to use fat. You can use beeswax, so no animals need to be harmed in that case. Alternately, you can use them to wax cheese, which is something that I'm not able to do for quite some time. You can use it to make a longbow. It's not a bad idea, honestly, because I might end up doing that at some point, just so that I have a better ranged weapon and I don't have to carry around so many spears, but we'll see. Most importantly, though, and yes, there's sturdy leather, that's something really, really far down the line, but most important is a candle. You can use it for making lanterns, you can use it for populating a chandelier, as you can see here, just by right-clicking on a chandelier that's been placed in world. You can add multiple different candles. Once you've got it fully maxed out, it can give the brightest light level there is in the game, at least to my knowledge, and that's 24. It will really light up an area quite well. But just one candle can be used to make a lantern, and that requires 3 of these in a cooking pot that will forever be used for things like glue or candles, because it is no longer going to be an edible type pot. But let's take a look at one of these lanterns. Let's choose Molybdochalkos, which is, or Molybdochalkos. I don't know if it's pronounced with a soft CH or not, but either way, it's a pretty lantern. It uses up a plate, which is a Molybdochalkos ingot. You don't have to have silver plate in here. This is optional. I chose one that actually had a silver lining. So keep in mind that this recipe is showing you extra because of the one that I clicked on. All you need is a bit of clear quartz or glass and a candle and Molybdochalkos plate. Ah, gosh, it's so difficult to say sometimes. Wally Doodle all the day plate here. Then you can make yourself a lantern. It'll be so much better than the oil lamp that you currently have, but it does require a little bit of prep work. And I am thinking that I might make this because it's just a couple of those ingots, and that would use a little bit of copper and a bunch of lead, which I don't really have as much use for lead besides windows. So I think that that's going to be something I'm going to focus on using. That way I'm not using up my iron or my tin or anything like that, and copper is probably one of the most common metals I could find in the world. As I currently have some sticky stuff in here, I'm going to keep the rest of my beeswax in there, but I am planning on using this to make 2, if possible, candles. I think I just need a couple of items for a wick, and then that should be good. I've got one pot here. Don't I have more pots? Oh, that's right. I've got the pots up on the shelf, so I've got plenty of pots. I'm just going to use this cooking pot then, and I can start grabbing these and spreading them out to make candles. We'll create 2 candles. There we go. So then I just need to cook this up. I should say that I ended up making a fuel chest rather than have the big stacks in here, kind of underneath the ovens, just so that I could make a little bit of use of a little bit of the space. And there we go. Oh, it converted both of them instantly instead of just one. That's worth noting. I just wasted an extra peat brick, but you can now see that the pot is now residue covered, and it is no longer can be used for meal making. You can even see it's kind of looks a bit gross, so we're just going to remove that for now. I'll put it up on the shelf here, and I can use a regular cooking pot for other well, meals in the future. So, candles. What's the cool thing about candles? You can use them in lanterns, you can use them on chandeliers, you can also use them just in world. You can put them on tables, on the ground, on fences even. And when you put one down, that's just the beginning. You can have several of them in place. and then they'll light up a little bit more each time you add one. And then if you need them back, you can just break it, pick them up, and so on. So they're really nice like that. But if you just want a really, really dimly lit area, just a series of single candles would really do well for that. So in my findings across the world, I've picked up some of the stones that were on the ground, some of which were quartz, some of which were clear quartz. And with those, I can use them to make lanterns. Now, quartz chunks are probably best to be used in a bloomery to make glass. Clear quartz, on the other hand, I can use to make a lantern. So I'm going to use a couple of those to make one. And with the monsters coming out, you can see that I am now progressing. I can hear them all outside with a little bit of Molybdochalkos here, just so I can get 2 ingots worth. And, oh, I will need a little bit more fuel, though. Put that in there. Let's just put it all in there. And I can't remember what Molybdochalkos smelts at. Smelting temperature 902, but the copper is going to need a higher temperature in order to get there. So let's take one of these out, and then I can start putting in some brown coal, which is probably going to get to the high enough temperature to melt the copper in order to make the alloy that I'm looking for. And there we have our crucible full of the moly alloy. And if I just sneak right click, I can pour this here. There's that. And the second one. So I do have to pour these into ingot molds because I don't have a way of just instantly turning it into a plate. Not without mods, at least. But while I wait for that to cool, actually let's put this down. Put this back on the shelf where I got it from. I think I might deal with the visitors, since there are getting to be a lot of them right now. I'm just going to wear my wood armor so that I don't get my leather armor all messed up, and clean up a little bit while I wait for that to cool. It's been a busy night. There's lots of death to be had, and so far none of it has been had by me. It's also been pretty profitable, because I got a rusty gear and so far 10 flax fibers, but I'll see if I can find any others on these drifters here. And it looks like that finishes off the night. One of them even spawned in my cellar, but once I carved this guy up, then we'll see how much I ended up getting. Oh, another one, yes. Alright, so I ended up getting 18 flax fibers, 1 rusty gear, and 1 temporal gear. Nice. Very nice indeed. This is great news because I kind of took the time to do so, otherwise I wouldn't have as many flax fibers as I did. I think most of them have so far been from drifters, so thank goodness for them in some ways. And with daylight being here, or the remnants of it, I still have the rift right here, but it's not spawning guys anymore because, well, it's too bright for it to do so. So I can have a little bit of fresh air in here, so to speak. But I'm going to make myself this lantern as the next step, which should take those 2 ingots that I just made. I'm going to reheat them, smelt them together into a plate, but I will need a few things first. One being a torch, because I need to light this. As I'm not fighting guys anymore and putting my shield up, I will need my tongs, and of course I will need a hammer. So it won't take too long before I can start making myself a much brighter light source than before. Now if I have enough silver or gold, you can make a plate out of that, and then just add it to the lantern, either in the process like you saw earlier as part of the crafting, or you can add it after you've made the lantern without much problem as well. You can set the lantern down, and then I think it's just sneak right click with the silver or gold plate, and it will make it even brighter than usual. Just it's just that much more valuable because it's got an entire plate of silver or gold in it, but at least it'll be much brighter. Well, a bit brighter, not necessarily much. Okay, so step 1, put this down on here, and you can only turn it into a plate because Molybdochalkos can only be made into one thing, and that's a plate. So it doesn't even give you options because it's not a tool type material. But I can still take this other one, slap it on top as well, and then I can use the heavy hit to kind of push this stuff out. And it will smash things out in a larger radius. thus allowing me to kind of move things around with a lot less hits than I normally would. And then the rest of it's just going to be a lot of hammering. This is where the Helve Hammer really comes in, because it can make plates for you. And then you can use those plates to make things like chain or just armor, as you'd like, provided that you have enough wind power for it. But again, don't have the windmill, so you can see the limitations I'm running into in this. There we go, so you can see just how much effort it takes to actually make a plate. There's a lot of smithing involved in that, but in this case, I think I'm going to forego cooling this off and just make myself that lantern. Light level 18, let's compare it to one of these oil lamps, which actually, let me see if I can grab one, which is light level 11. So it's going to be much brighter. Oh, look at that. Oh, you guys can actually see things in here. Now, if I had enough of the clear quartz, I would be making a second one straight away, and then I could have that as a main light source in this room. But as I don't have more clear quartz, that's going to be something that I'm going to want to start looking for. In the meantime, though, I'm almost out of meals at the moment. I'll leave that open. I'm going to make myself some food. Not just any food. I'm going to try my hand at some soup. I believe you've got multiple ways of doing it. You can check meal making in the handbook if you want. I'm going to try this, because normally I'd be able to do this, but I think I can I just... 4, 5, 6. There we go. 6 liters. Just by left clicking with a bucket of water, you can add in a portion of water. Then you can always right click to take that back out if you want. Also, you can just break the pot and the water goes away. But this will make a soup out of these things. Is it going to be more saturating than if you just had regular stuff? No. It's just more creative. Something that I wanted to do so that it wasn't just the same stew. Instead, I figured I'd just make a soup because it's kind of getting cold, and I figured that just kind of feels a little bit more thematic. There we go. 1 pot of cooked food. 6 servings of turnip soup with parsnip and carrot. Yeah, just... I guess it kind of looks like a soup. There's not much for chunks in there, but still, it's good stuff. Especially when your nutrition has been pants after being killed several times in previous episodes. So now I think is the time that I'm going to start making a bunch of other iron tools. I'm probably going to spend the entirety of the day inside for the most part. I know it's medium outside, and we still have that rift. Probably go away by the time night rolls around. But I figure, what better time, because after the last time, it takes me 4 hits to kill something with a tin bronze foxblade. I think it's only 3 hits with an iron one, so it's definitely going to be worthwhile to make a foxblade next. Then I think I'll make a pick, shovel, axe, etc., etc. And there we have it, an iron pickaxe. An axe, a shovel, foxblade, and a knife. And you can see that I've gone through a lot of the tin bronze hammer durability. I've been banging away on this thing for quite some time. Oh, it feels good to actually put it down for a bit. So I am going to still keep things like flint axes because they're just useful for making like firewood. But as for chopping trees, the iron axe is going to be fantastic. I'm still going to keep the prospecting pick because I just need that to, well, just regular prospect. And I think I've got plenty of other backup stuff going on as well. Alright, my nutrition's starting to get back up there. My protein's still pretty high from eating all that meat earlier, but I should be able to get the rest of it up eventually. That fruit's probably going to be the slowest one to go up with the season change. Oh gosh, and it's still there after all that hammering. Oh, nonetheless, I feel like I've made a really good amount of progress as far as things are going. Oh, I forgot my shield, which it's taken quite a lot of hits as well. I'm about halfway through its durability. I even have this leather armor. All you need to do is just, if you have it on your hotbar, you just right click it and you'll automatically trade out your items that you're wearing. So it's pretty darn handy like that. Here, let me turn my character so that he's facing you. You can see that you can just switch out armor real quick and on the fly if you need to. You just need to have it on your hotbar. Otherwise, you can always drag it and switch it out from your inventory if you really want to. But with that being said, I feel that this is pretty good so far. I've got plenty more that I'm going to need to work on. And that eyeball amulet's so creepy. I might upgrade a hat. I think that might be my next project because I need to protect my noggin from taking some damage. But yeah, this shield, pretty happy with it. I think I might make an iron variant as well. Oh, and here's the test. Let's see how we do with this. Is it going to be 3 hits? Yes, 3 hits to kill drifters. That's a lot less durability in 2 ways. One, because I'm not doing a 3rd hit, and I've got a lot more durability on here. 850. All right, maybe not a lot, but a bit more at least. Whew. And with the nightly raids coming in, it's very it's high rift activity again. Night is falling. That rift is still there, spewing out dudes that are rich in flax fibers content. Then I may end up harvesting a bunch more just so I can see if I can get that much closer to my dreams of a windmill. And oh, maybe I can even buy some flax from a trader nearby or something. But one day I hope to have myself a decent helve hammer with a windmill. And after another fruitful night, I got 12 more flax, 2 rusty gears, and this time 2 temporal gears. It's been pretty good actually having that rift that was there, but it's still only 2:28 in the morning, and yeah, it is now converted to calm. So they've all pretty much just walked away and are not interested. So I am just going to put away my loot. And with that, I think we'll pause and end it here for this episode. Tune in next time for the continuation of Vintage Story Unearthed for 120.